Over the years, I've seen numerous things which have driven up demand for housing and therefore house prices. In this video, I'm going to talk about the effects of new government schemes on the property market, and we'll talk about why they exist. I'm going to talk about how these schemes increase the leverage and therefore the house prices. I'm going to go over what these crazy new ones are and when these are going to affect the property market. Let's get into it. First home buyer schemes, why do they exist? So, firstly, they exist because our economy favours those who already own property. What this has meant in the past is that property values have gone up much faster than what incomes have. As a result, it's harder for people without property to buy a property because they have to continuously raise these larger deposits in order to get into the property market. If property keeps going up faster than wages, then eventually no one is going to be able to afford a property. This has been the common thinking for a long time now, but lo and behold, the government keep on bringing out ways to get first home buyers into the market whilst house prices keep on increasing. Let's go back to the mother of modern government grants and schemes, and that is the first homeowner grant, which was introduced in the year 2000. These schemes are always introduced as being temporary, but evidently they have a knack of sticking around as it's still around today. So from here I can say that first homeowners win because they can get into the housing market. The existing property owners win because it creates more demand for property and pushes the price of houses higher, and government wins because it gets the votes that it craves. So let's just take a step back and tease out how the existing property owners win, because this is the core point of this video. Firstly, you can just look at this graph of Australian residential property prices since the year 2000. Now, I know there's several factors involved in contributing to property prices, but since the year 2000, one of the majors have been the first homeowner grants and schemes. At this point in the video, I want to explain the leverage thing because it's important. If you buy a house, you can typically borrow 90% of the value of the property that you're purchasing. In some cases you can go higher, but let's just use 90% for this video. This means all you need to do is put in 10% plus whatever costs you need. So if the government gives you $10,000, you could effectively buy something for 100 grand. Borrow 90%, which is the 90,000, and then you just need to put in the 10%, which the government gives you. This is the important point, and I hope I've explained this well enough to you for you to understand, because it's pushing the market a lot forward. If you didn't have these grants, people would not be able to offer the prices of what they do. So these grants give buyers access to the game so they can bid up property prices. Next, let's talk about the crazy new schemes from the government. Firstly, we have these schemes from the NHFIC. Before I go into the schemes, the NHFIC, National Housing Finance and Investment Corporation, is the government organisation that's dedicated to aid housing concerns and is responsible for the distribution of these grants to get home buyers into the market all across the country. NHFIC have these main schemes: the new home grant, the first home guarantee, and the family home guarantee. That's right, it's now become so complicated that there's even actually a separate organisation to administer all these handouts. They've even stated this year that they would move the amount of spots on these schemes from 35,000 to a maximum of 50,000. That's a 40% increase in the amount of spots available in 1 year. That is a massive increase, and what it does is it increases the demand by a massive amount too. The problem is we've already seen from 2020 and 21 what that increased demand did, because in those years we had a shortage of property on the market. When the market shortages kick in, this is just going to push prices further and further. The other one is these crazy communist co-buy schemes. Let me explain what they are. So Anthony Albanese, our current Prime Minister, put through an election promise to set up a 40% co-buy scheme. What does that mean? It means the government will help you buy your first home and pay for up to 40% of the house with you. That's the reason why I'm saying crazy communist co-buy scheme, because if they push it just a little bit further, and that's what they do, they push these schemes further, they'll be buying the majority of your own home, and that's not good if the government owns a majority of your own home. Now there's these other state government schemes to add to the paradigm. Dominic Perrotet, the New South Wales Premier, has announced the first home buyer choice as a part of an integrated multi-billion-dollar housing package in New South Wales. Daniel Andrews' government has announced an investment in the public and affordable housing scheme in Victoria. Firstly, some people will come back and tell you these schemes are all limited and they're going to be temporary and blah, blah, blah. Go back to the year 2000 and you'll hear the same arguments being said about the first homeowner grant. The first homeowner grant was then argued that it would help offset capital gains tax changes. Anyway, the point is it's still here. It's now 22 years old. That's a bit longer than temporary. So mark my words, these co-buy schemes will come in as limited at the start, but what will happen is they'll get extended just like the first homeowner grant did. So let me spell this out. Under a 40% co-buy scheme, if you can only afford a $600,000 loan, the government will just pitch in another 40% or $400,000, which means you've gone from being able to buy approximately a 600 grand property to now being able to buy a $1 million property. If you're going to pretend that this isn't going to affect the housing market, then you've got to be kidding me. I hope I've really made that clear. And if you like this content and you're getting something out of it, please comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps us a lot. I guess the next question is, when will be the next property market boom? As Aussies, we're crazy about property, and I know that's what most people think about. What I want to say first is hold your horses. We have some pretty strong headwinds in our economy and the property market, and the main one here is the rising interest rates. The Reserve Bank is still telling us that they're going to continue to raise interest rates to put out the higher levels of inflation. Who knows what the future is going to hold? This is why it makes things very hard to predict. I just think that when the next boom comes, these schemes and grants are going to be a major contributing force to the property market, going to an unthinkable high. Now, I'll just say a few things here before I close this out. Number one, this is not financial advice. Number two, property market boom does not mean a strong economy. And this is one thing that people will tell themselves because they want to get greedy and they want to get rich. Number three, if you're like this and you're watching now, you need to click on the like and subscribe button for me. Support the channel. That's all for me today, guys. Till next time. Cheers.